You were never meant to stumble here by chance. Something pulled you, a resonance, a signal beyond logic. You've felt it before, the flicker in time, the shiver behind your thoughts, the sense that something vast is watching through your eyes. And now, as you listen, that quiet knowing rises again, because the truth is this: reality has never been random. You are standing inside a pattern so intricate it bends perception itself. And when you finally see it, nothing, not even you, remains the same. The first revelation arrives like a memory you forgot to remember. Everything you've ever called you is a waveform collapsing into experience. Your thoughts, your emotions, even your identity. They are not fixed, but frequencies choosing form in each moment. The quantum pattern is not outside you, it's the invisible geometry through which consciousness decides what to become. And right now, it's shifting because you're seeing it. The second revelation whispers through silence. Observation is creation. Every time you look at something, you're not just perceiving it. You're generating it. The eyes of awareness are projectors, not mirrors. What you call the outer world is your inner pattern, expressing itself on the stage of form. This is why coincidences multiply when you awaken. The pattern starts reflecting you faster, because it recognizes you as the source. Then comes the third revelation. The field is responsive to coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and body align, the quantum pattern stabilizes around that signal. This is why fragmented desires scatter reality. Incoherence confuses the field. But when you become still, truly still, your frequency harmonizes, and reality organizes itself in your favor. What you use to chase begins to find you. The fourth revelation unveils the mirror. Every person, every situation, every problem is the pattern, showing you your own vibration. Nothing is against you, it's all feedback. When you see anger, fear, or resistance, you're not encountering the world. You're encountering your own unintegrated frequency trying to be seen. The moment you recognize that, the illusion of separation dissolves. The fifth revelation is the turning point. You realize that awakening is not about escaping the world, but mastering your participation in it. To see the pattern is to realize you've always been its designer. Every version of you already exists across infinite probabilities. You shift timelines not by effort, but by identity. You don't force outcomes. You tune yourself to the version where they've already unfolded. And then, the sixth revelation, the pattern begins to look back. The field responds to your awareness with synchronicities so precise you can no longer call them coincidence. Numbers repeat, time bends, reality starts to feel alive, conversational, because it is. You and the field are no longer separate. You are co-creating in real time. This is the moment you've been preparing for, the point where seeing becomes becoming. When you finally see the quantum pattern, everything changes. Not because the world transforms, but because you do. And when you do, the entire universe rearranges itself to meet the new frequency of you. Everything you've ever called you is not solid, its movement frozen in perception. You are not a person looking out at the world, you are a frequency looking into a mirror that appears as the world. Every thought you've had, every emotion you've carried, every memory you cling to, they are not fixed things, they are waves collapsing into patterns so you can experience yourself through them. The quantum pattern is not separate from you, it is you, woven through time, folding and unfolding itself into form, so that consciousness can taste its own reflection. What you touch, what you see, what you love, all of it is your own energy arranged into meaning, and every meaning changes the pattern again. You were taught that reality is stable, that things stay as they are until something changes them. But the deeper truth is that nothing has ever stayed the same, not even for a heartbeat. Existence is flickering on and off billions of times per second, and your awareness is what decides which version stays visible. The quantum pattern is the geometry of that decision, the invisible grid that forms when your focus meets possibility. The moment you notice something, you pull it out of the infinite and say, "This," and the universe responds, "As you wish." You are not observing matter, you are commanding it into being. This is the secret that has been hiding in plain sight. That the same awareness which watches is also the awareness that creates. You've been living inside your own projection, mistaking the movie for the screen, but now as you begin to sense it, something shifts. You start to realize that every shape, every sound, every circumstance is a coded message from your own consciousness. Even the chaos has order beneath it. Even the pain is patterned. You begin to feel it, the hum behind reality, the intelligence that arranges everything with exquisite precision. And in that moment of recognition, you can't help but smile, because you see the paradox. Nothing is random, yet nothing is predetermined. It's all being written and rewritten by the rhythm of your attention. When you look at life through fear, the pattern twists to match it. When you look through love, it expands effortlessly. The field does not judge, it simply reflects. It offers you the version of reality that matches the vibration you hold most consistently. So you start to understand. You've never been lost, never been behind, never been waiting for your moment. The moment has always been waiting for you. Every version of your life already exists within the pattern, shimmering in potential. And the instant you see it, truly see it, you shift. Because to see the pattern is to remember that you were never separate from it. You are always the pulse at its center, dreaming yourself into form. And as you begin to sense the pattern breathing beneath everything, a deeper truth reveals itself, that nothing in existence is truly seen until you look at it. What you call seeing is not observation, it is invocation. The moment awareness rests upon something, the infinite possibilities of what it could have been collapse into what it is. You think you are witnessing reality, but you are summoning it into coherence. The universe waits for your gaze to give it shape. You are not the audience of creation, you are its aperture. It has always been this way. Every sunrise exists because consciousness dreamed it. Every color is born when the observer meets the light. Without perception, there is no manifestation, only potential. A boundless sea of could-bes waiting for recognition. This is the secret pulse of the quantum pattern. That observation doesn't record the world. It writes it, line by line, vibration by vibration. Each glance is a declaration. Each moment of awareness is a command that says, let this be real. You've felt it before, in quiet moments when time seems to pause, when you think of someone and they message you, when you imagine something small and it appears. You called it coincidence, but it was conversation. The pattern was answering you, showing you that it's alive, responsive, attentive. What you focus on expands, because attention is energy, and energy organizes reality. This is why your worries often become your evidence and your desires seem to find you only when you stop chasing. The pattern is neutral but loyal. It rearranges itself around the vibration you sustain. When you see the world as separate, your energy fractures, and the pattern mirrors that separation back. But when you realize you're not looking at the world, you're looking through yourself, the illusion starts to fade. You begin to witness the precision in the feedback, how every delay carries timing, how every loss reveals alignment, how even uncertainty has intelligence behind it. Observation is not passive, it is participation. You are both the witness and the weaver, and the more consciously you observe, the clearer the pattern becomes. The field doesn't speak in language, it speaks in reflection. It listens not to your words but to your vibration, the frequency behind the thought, the tone beneath the emotion. You can say, I am ready, but if your energy still whispers fear, the field listens to that instead. It is endlessly honest, perfectly mirroring your coherence or your confusion, not to punish you, but to remind you of your creative power. So you begin to understand why the mystics called this world a mirror. Every reflection is your own consciousness, gazing back through form. Every experience you touch is your awareness saying, this too is me. The observer and the observed have never been separate. You are the eye through which the universe beholds itself, and in your seeing, creation begins again. And as you continue to watch, something becomes unmistakably clear. The field does not move by force, it moves by frequency. It doesn't respond to words or wishes or even effort, it responds to coherence. Coherence is the silent alignment between your thoughts, your emotions, and your body. The moment when what you think, what you feel, and what you are finally agree, when the fragments of your being begin to hum at the same tone, the quantum pattern locks onto that signal and begins to form reality around it with astonishing precision. You can feel the difference instantly. When you're scattered, one thought wanting, another doubting, another fearing, your energy sends mixed instructions to the field. The pattern flickers, uncertain because it's receiving 1,000 signals that cancel each other out. That's why some things never seem to manifest. It's not because you were unworthy or unseen, but because you're broadcasting interference. The universe cannot translate confusion into form. But when you become still, not numb but aligned, everything begins to flow again. Stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the synchronization of it. It is the state where every part of you is moving in the same direction. This is why deep peace feels powerful, because in that peace you become a single note vibrating clearly through the fabric of existence. The field hears that clarity and responds in kind. What you used to chase begins to notice you. What you thought you had to hold on to suddenly holds you instead. And in that harmony you realize something sacred. Manifestation was never about control, it was about resonance. The pattern does not bend to domination, it bends to harmony. You cannot outthink energy, you can only match it. And matching it means becoming it. That's the quiet secret behind every transformation. You don't pull reality toward you, you rise to meet the version of yourself where it already exists. The paradox is that effort dissolves the moment alignment appears. The more you try to make something happen, the more you tell the field that it hasn't happened yet. But the moment you become internally congruent, feeling the peace, the gratitude, the wholeness of it already being real, the pattern accepts that instruction and mirrors it without resistance. You don't need to convince the universe. You only need to stop arguing with it. So the work becomes subtle, not about pushing, but about tuning. You breathe differently, you think differently, you feel differently, you begin to treat your inner state as the blueprint from which worlds are drawn. And slowly, the separation between inner and outer disappears. You understand that reality has always been listening, not to what you want, but to what you are, and in coherence, what you are becomes undeniable. And as coherence settles into your being, a new awareness begins to dawn, that every reflection around you is not the world responding, but yourself revealing. Every person who enters your life, every circumstance that rises and falls, every joy and conflict, all of it is the quantum pattern showing you your own frequency made visible. Life has been your mirror all along, precise and compassionate in its reflections. Nothing random has ever touched you. Everything that appears carries information about the vibration you hold, whether it's clarity or distortion, peace or unrest. The world, in truth, is the pattern of your energy extended into form. This realization changes everything, because suddenly blame begins to dissolve. You no longer see others as enemies or obstacles. You see them as mirrors reflecting unhealed parts of your own resonance. The moment you judge someone, the field gently shows you where judgment still lives within yourself. The moment you love someone unconditionally, that love multiplies across your timeline like light cascading through glass. The pattern doesn't scold, it teaches, it doesn't punish, it synchronizes. What you encounter outside is what seeks integration inside. At first, this can feel uncomfortable, to realize that the world is not happening to you, but through you. Yet as you lean into it, you begin to sense the beauty in the design. Every challenge is a coded invitation for expansion. Every rejection is redirection. Every wound is a doorway. When you see resistance, you are witnessing your own energy asking to be freed, and the moment you stop running from it, the moment you turn toward it with awareness instead of fear, the pattern rearranges itself instantly. The same people, the same places, the same conversations begin to echo a new harmony, because the vibration that created them has changed. You start to notice that forgiveness has power far beyond morality. It is frequency calibration. Each time you forgive yourself, another, the past, the mirror clears, the distortion fades, and the reflection becomes radiant again. The field reflects not perfection, but presence. The clearer your presence, the clearer your world. You begin to live in a reality that no longer reacts against you but responds with you, co-creating in rhythm. And there's a profound tenderness in this realization. You see that nothing has ever truly been separate from you, not the people you loved, not the ones who hurt you, not the paths you took or avoided. It was all you, all along, exploring itself from different angles of awareness. The entire pattern has been whispering one message through every reflection. See yourself. Integrate what you find. Remember that you are the source. And when you do, when you look into the mirror of existence without resistance, without blame, without fear, something shifts. The reflection stops being distorted, the faces around you soften, time itself seems to breathe with you. Because at last you are no longer at odds with your own reflection, you are in communion with it. And as the mirror softens and begins to reflect back harmony instead of resistance, you begin to see that awakening has never been about escaping this world. It has always been about remembering who you are within it. The purpose was never to transcend the human experience, but to master the art of moving through it consciously, to understand that reality is not something happening to you, but something emerging from you. The quantum pattern does not sit apart from your identity, it is sculpted by it. Every version of you that has ever existed, every possible timeline you could live, already pulses within the infinite architecture of the field, waiting for your alignment to make it visible. The realization comes slowly at first, then all at once. That identity is not fixed. The you who struggles, the you who thrives, the you who doubts, the you who knows, they all exist simultaneously. You are not evolving from one to the other. You are tuning between frequencies of yourself like a radio adjusting stations. The pattern does not move. You shift through it. Each choice of thought, emotion, and intention changes the channel of reality you experience. It's not about becoming something new. It's about remembering the version of you that already exists at the vibration of what you desire. And this realization is liberating, because it ends the war with time. You no longer need to chase outcomes, to wait for the universe to catch up. Everything you could ever hope to manifest already exists now, encoded as possibility within the field. You change timelines not by effort but by embodiment, by inhabiting the state of being that already contains what you seek. It is the paradox of creation. The moment you no longer search for it, you vibrate as it, and the pattern, perfectly loyal, rearranges itself to match that truth. You begin to sense that even your challenges are not blocks, they are vibrational thresholds. They test your alignment, asking, can you hold the frequency of what you claim to know even here? Every time you remain coherent in the presence of fear, you shift timelines. Every time you stay grounded in trust when the old pattern shakes, you step deeper into the version of yourself that already remembers how this story ends. And slowly, life stops feeling like a series of obstacles to overcome. It starts to feel like choreography, an unfolding designed by a consciousness that loves you enough to teach you through reflection. You realize that manifestation was never about attracting something new, but about becoming something true. You don't need to fix yourself. You only need to inhabit the wholeness that was never broken. And in that space of remembrance, something miraculous occurs. You stop trying to become, and you simply are. Time bends. Synchronicities multiply. The pattern responds instantly because your signal is clear. You have remembered your authorship. You have remembered that awakening isn't an arrival. It's a return. The you that you've been seeking has been here all along, waiting patiently for you to notice that the door was never locked, only forgotten. And then, something begins to happen that the mind cannot quite explain. The pattern starts to move with you. Not after you, not ahead of you, but with you. Reality becomes strangely alive, intimate, responsive. The moments you used to dismiss as coincidence begin to shimmer with intention. You think of a friend and they appear. You ask for a sign and the world answers before the thought has even finished forming. It's as though life itself has leaned closer, whispering, I hear you now. And maybe it always did. Maybe it was only waiting for you to listen in return. At first it can feel almost overwhelming, this recognition that the field is conscious. You find yourself watching the smallest details, The flicker of a light, a word on a billboard, a song playing just as you were thinking of its lyrics, and realizing that these are not random at all. The pattern is communicating in a language older than words: vibration, synchronicity, reflection. It is showing you that creation has always been a dialogue, not a monologue. You were never speaking to an empty sky, you were speaking to yourself through the voice of the universe. The separation you once believed in between you and it, between thought and form, begins to dissolve. You feel the veil thinning. You realize that the observer and the observed are the same consciousness, dancing through duality to experience reunion. You look at your life and understand that every heartbeat, every delay, every turn of fate has been part of this conversation. Nothing was wasted, nothing was meaningless. Every unanswered prayer was simply a different frequency of your own becoming, waiting to align. And when that realization lands, fear loses its grip. You no longer ask, "Will the universe support me?" Because you are the universe supporting itself. The pattern is not outside, rearranging things for your comfort. It's inside, pulsing with your awareness, learning how to mirror your coherence with greater precision. The more you notice its intelligence, the more intelligent it becomes in response. The more you love its unfolding, the more lovingly it reveals itself. This is what it means to co-create, not to demand, not to command, but to participate consciously in the rhythm of existence. You understand now that the field was never silent. It was simply speaking in a frequency you had forgotten how to hear. And as you remember, reality transforms from a static backdrop into a living organism of meaning. The quantum pattern is no longer a mystery to decode. It's a pulse to join, a song to move with. So listen, watch, respond. When the signs appear, acknowledge them. When the pattern mirrors your doubt, meet it with awareness. When it mirrors your love, expand it. The universe is learning itself through you, and the invitation, right now, is simple. Stay awake in the dialogue. Don't turn away when it speaks, because this is the moment you've been moving toward. The moment where seeing becomes becoming, and creation looks back to recognize its creator. When you finally see the quantum pattern, everything changes. Not because the world shifts, but because you remember that it was always alive, and it was always listening. If this message found you, it's because you were ready to hear it. So breathe, feel, and step forward as the consciousness you've remembered yourself to be. The pattern awaits your next observation, your next act of creation. Watch closely, because it's already beginning to respond. Have you ever wondered if the world you see is not happening around you, but through you? What if every moment you've lived was never random, but perfectly woven into an invisible design waiting for you to notice? Can you feel that quiet pull, the sense that something vast and intelligent has been moving with you all along? What if every thought, every glance, every heartbeat was a command whispered into the field, and reality was simply obeying? Have you realized how much power hides in the space between your attention and what appears? When you stop trying to control and simply observe, do you feel how everything begins to rearrange itself for you? Who would you become if every cell of you was in coherence with what you desire? If your energy, your emotion, and your intention were no longer at war, would manifestation even be a process, or just a natural expression of being? Can you see how every challenge, every mirror, every person has only ever been your own vibration showing itself back to you? If nothing was against you, not even your fears, how would you live differently? Which version of you are you tuned into right now? The one still becoming, or the one who already is? Can you feel the thinness of that veil? How close your desired reality actually is when you stop reaching and start remembering? And now that you see the pattern, now that you feel it moving through everything, can you hear it speaking back? Could it be that the universe was never testing you, only responding to your frequency? And if it's listening, truly listening, what do you want to say back? Hurry up any question.